Okay, so there's people out there protesting for the right to continue to have unprotected sex and have that backup plan, that backup option to terminate the baby. That's what's going on in America right now, okay? Let's get into the context, man.
Now let's be facts.
Oh, man. Well, the U.S. government, y'all done did it now, man. Y'all got the masses of people upset by this, okay? And I know I'm laughing. I'm not trying to make this a trivial event, because it's not. But there's some stuff to discuss, okay? And it's like, maybe 10 or 5 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago, okay, I was pro-choice, like completely pro-choice. I realize that I've come to the conclusion that I'm like 50-50 on it, okay? I'm pro-choice and I'm pro-life. I'm gonna get into that later, but like, I'm 50-50 on it. But just seeing the amount of protesting that's going on around this subject, it's kind of eye-opening to me. I'm not even gonna lie about that. Okay, so the Supreme Court overturned Roe V Wade, effectively ending recognition of a constitutional right to an abortion and giving individual states the power to allow, limit, or however they see fit. So pretty much now, what you learn in school and whatnot, it's a state's right. It's not the federal government having one strict law, like it's all legal everywhere. It's not that anymore. So each individual state is gonna have their own law around it now. Now, there's some states that's already banning that shit, like completely. There's some states who already moved towards doing that. And the other states are moving the complete opposite way. So you already know it's always going to be like that. But I find that kind of interesting too. Like, they was waiting for that shit. Like, it's mostly the red states, of course. Them red states was waiting. Like, yeah, what's the Supreme Court going to do? What's they going to do? All right, they did it. All right, come on, let's ban that shit now. I find that kind of interesting too. I'm not even going to lie. And pretty much just to, piggyback more off that point, I've come to realize, like, the more conservative / traditional / old school states, they're moving more towards restrictions on that. Now, the more blue states, progressive, liberal, all of that stuff, they're moving more towards less restrictions and making it more open. And now that it's more in the states' rights, and some states are banning it, the states that are, making it more accessible, they're even opening up the doors. Like in Cali, I read that in Cali, it's gonna be a safe haven for people from other states that wanna have abortion. I'm like I said, I find that kind of interesting, bro. Like, the two biggest states, blue states, of course, is New York and Cali, and when it comes to the United States, right? And they're making it so, like, oh, come on. You want to have you want to terminate the baby? Come on, you got to come to this state. Come on. Okay, you over on the West Coast? Okay, go to Cali. Very interesting, bro. I'm not even going to front. That is kind of eye-opening to me, too. I'm not even going to lie about that. Now, one main thing I wanted to do before, like, getting into this topic, because honestly I wasn't even gonna talk about this, but I'm like, you know what, I'm jumping into the commentary scene, bro. I gotta be open and not afraid to talk about some of these sensitive ass topics. But one thing I wanted to look into was, like, is the right to an abortion legit and a big argument or a big deal in countries overseas? Turns out it actually is, bro. I'm not even gonna lie, it actually is. And what I've come to realize is that the countries overseas, like the UK, England, and all those stuff that's more on the US side, or more just pretty much damn near like the US, damn near just like us, they're more pro-choice. They're more pro-choice, of course, because they're just like us, our allies and shit like that. They're more pro-choice because, we all have the same ideals when it comes to those type of stuff. That's why we're allies. And the states that, or the countries that, we disagree with, Russia and all of that, and, North Korea and all of that shit, they're more pro-life. Like, no, you want an abortion, you better go overseas to do that shit. Or you better find some under the table kind of way to do that shit in those countries. Now, You know, take whatever information you want from that statement, but that's kind of interesting too, because you got to think about it, right? The United States influence is so damn powerful that even the shit overseas, countries overseas, is following suit, kind of. Like, I really wanted to know if this was such a big deal overseas, because it seems like every year or every other year there's something regarding Roe v Wade in this state or that state. This state is changing it, that state is changing it. Oh, you know, they're lowering the week that you could get the, you know, terminate the baby and all of that stuff. It's like, it seems like it's always something coming up about this, right? Don't it seem like that? Okay. What I will say is, all right, like how I said earlier in the video, I'm on both sides of this spectrum right here. It's kind of hard for me to be completely of either side. I'm not even gonna lie, because okay, let me get into this, okay? For the pro-life argument, all right, because I had to start, you know, being more open to listening to other sides of this shit. The pro-life argument is more along the lines of the science behind it. The science says, which I had to look up too. I put it on the screen for you to see. I made sure to look this shit up because I wanted to make sure. I was like, okay, let me make sure. The science behind it says it's life as soon as fertilization happens. So as soon as the damn egg, the sperm meets the egg, that's a life right there. Blew my damn mind, bro. I never considered that. So technically, an abortion, no matter when it happens, is technically terminating the baby. Technically, if you believe in the science, because I know I've come to realize some people believe in science when it benefits them, and some people believe in science when it don't benefit them. I'm one of those people. I'm not really gonna front, but I find that kind of interesting, because some people would hear that, like hear or know the science behind it and not care. You know, the science says as soon as that egg and the sperm meet, it's a life. It's a human life at that point. So no matter what, you're killing that baby. And then the pro-life arguments is more along the lines of like, any baby that's, you know, conceived should have the chance to be lived. You know, any baby that is born should have a chance at life. That's more their argument. I'm not gonna front. Kind of blew my mind a little bit, because it's like, and this is why I'm 50-50 on it, because while I do understand and while I do somewhat agree, I don't agree at the same time. Because why would you bring, I know it's a little controversial for me, but I gotta say this shit because this is thoughts I be having. Why would you allow poverty-stricken ass people who want to have that abortion and not have the right to do it? Like, why would that make sense? Now, I know this is another argument people are gonna bring up, like, oh, just have responsible sex, You know, I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? But seriously though, like, if it's poverty-stricken ass people, which I've done research on, and it said like the majority of these abortions happen in the South and like from minorities and stuff like that, poverty-stricken, you know, whatever. If they want the right to have that abortion, I think, to me personally, it would be better for them to do that than bring another, you know, poverty-stricken individual into the world. I honestly believe that. Now, I understand it's a human life at the end of the day, but, you know, like, it would be, I think it would make more sense for them to not have another expense in their life. That's honestly what I feel about that. Now, this was a big thing, and it's always a big topic when it comes to, you know, Roe v Wade and all of that. And it's the R word. I can't say that shit, but you know, it rhymes with grape, okay? Or any of the other outlier instances of a girl getting pregnant. And what I will honestly say is, and why I mention outliers, because this doesn't happen that often, but I will honestly upfront say, yes, in those cases right there, the woman should always have the choice. Always. This is why I'm pro-choice too. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm 50-50 on this shit, because I'm more pro-choice too when it comes to these situations. The woman should always have the right to get an abortion if it relates to grape or, incest, or anything like that. They should always have the right to do that. Always. And there's already some states that's banning that too. And I'm like, that right there, I don't agree with at all. In those cases, bro, there's no way in hell that woman should have to bring a baby into the world as a result of, a sexual assault. I don't agree with it at all, bro. That's crazy to me. But it's another red state, so it's not even surprising anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, when those red states do things like that, conservative states and shit, I don't be surprised by that anymore, Now to the pro-choice side, all right? I knew this video was going to be kind of long, so if you made it this far, man, I really appreciate that shit, seriously. Now, to the pro-choice side, all right? Woman's body, my body, my choice. They always bring up, it shouldn't be old white men determining what women could do with their body, or, how about we regulate men's bodies to us? Some crap like that. It's always those extra factors they like to bring up in these regards. Now, what I will say with the pro-choice side, I completely understand. And I do agree. It's her body. She should be able to do what she wants with that shit. But why I'm against pro-choice at the same time is, what if in those instances, right, those cases of the woman doesn't want the baby, but the father wants the baby? Because the baby, it has to be two people. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango, right? So what if in those instances of the woman not wanting that baby, but the father does? Or vice versa, you know what I'm saying? Because once the baby is there in a woman's stomach, the father pretty much has no say-so in what she decides to do. I mean, kind of, but if she wants to get rid of that baby, but the father wants that shit, what can he do? You know what I'm saying? Well, what can he really do? He could try to talk her out of it, but that's it. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's like, yes, your body, your choice, and if both parties are willing and accepting of the termination of the baby, fine. In that case, absolutely, yeah, go ahead. But in those instances of, yes, I want that baby, don't get rid of it, I'll raise it myself if you don't want to, deadbeat mother or whatever, but she still decides to get rid of that baby, or even vice versa, like, no, I don't want that shit, like, bro, you about to be a single mother, but she still decides to keep that baby. In those weird instances, which does happen, sure, someone out there, you have a friend who, they didn't want that baby, but the mother decided to keep it, or vice versa. I'm so 50-50 on this shit, like, and I don't think there's one solid answer for this shit. And I'm being so honest with that, like, because I hear arguments from both sides. I find it kind of funny to see some of the pro-choice, the sides that they had up in the protests and shit. I find some of those signs kind of funny, because it's like, you're protesting, and this is my conclusion, what I've come to. They be protesting, and this is in these liberal states where they just have free sex. They just have sex all willy-nilly and shit, and they want to have that backup plan of terminating the baby, which is crazy, because in those liberal states, they're not banning that shit. They're not banning it. So are y'all protesting in New York for the right of the women in Nebraska or some shit, or Michigan or Mississippi or something like that? Is that what's going on? That was kind of confusing. It was like, bro, New York, I doubt they changing any laws regarding that. Cali, hell no, that's not happening. They opening the doors for people in other states. But I low-key lost my train of thought. I was just saying, like, yeah, they people that's protesting for the right, other than the fact of her body, her choice, it comes across more along the lines of, like, I'm protesting for the right to continuously have free sex, have sex all willy-nilly, with anybody, and if it so happens that I have, or conceive with a guy I don't want to, I have the right to get rid of that baby. That's honestly a pro-life conclusion. I realize that's low-key a pro-life conclusion I just came up with, but That's what it be seen. That's what it seems like. Man, let me know what y'all think. I know this is a very touchy subject. I know. Hear me out though. I'm for both sides, right? Because I understand arguments from both sides. I think the problem here is that pro-choice women, especially, don't even want to hear pro-life arguments. That's the issue here. But I'm willing. I don't care. I'm willing to hear both sides of this shit. Pro-life. I'm pro-life and I'm pro-choice at the same time. I know it's strange, but I am, because I'm willing to hear both arguments, and both sides make very genuine and valid ass points. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna try to think. Like, comment, subscribe. If you made it to the end, what is it? 17, almost 18 minutes, man. Damn. You made it to the end of the video. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate that shit, man. I'm heading to the gym, man. Something beaming on me, low key. Headed to the gym, man. Thank you. Almost at 2,000 subscribers. More videos coming soon, man.